I am currently over 35 hours in Metaphor ReFantazio and ReFantazio, and I am having an absolute blast. I have to say thank you to everyone who voted in the previous poll. I believe I had like 41 votes or something, and this game came out on top. So the way I'm gonna do things from here on out is simply tell you about my journey as I'm making it through these JRPG/RPG/adventure games. During the time at which this game came out, I was actually wrapping up my second playthrough of Persona 5, the Persona 5 Royale edition to be exact. I really like Persona 5. So I just wrapped up my playthrough. Metaphor ReFantazio comes out. The world is going crazy saying how good it is. And I'm like, I don't want to see a single trailer. I don't want to know anything about that game because one day I will in fact play it. So what's happening to me is the older I get, right now I'm 42, I'm realizing that you have a finite amount of time to be sitting there and playing a game. A lot of the games that I play tend to be over 100 hours long. That being said, you're not gonna be able to keep up with the latest and greatest. So it dawned on me that playing games late is actually a huge boon. It is a very powerful thing. The positives far exceed the negatives for playing a game late. This should probably be a separate video, but long story short, you get a patched up, clean experience. And if you're lucky, you will actually make a generational leap in the process. I am playing Metaphor ReFantazio, a game that came out on the PS4 on the PS5 Pro. And let me tell you, this game looks absolutely stunning on the PS5 Pro. So this is gonna be my initial impressions of Metaphor ReFantazio. The game so far is really impressing me. So you guys came through a second time with the poll on my channel. And I wanna say thank you, really and truly, thank you. So as I stated, I am a Persona 5 fan. So I like the fact that Metaphor is pretty much a Persona game in all but name. So the intro for this game starts out with the king getting murked. And most Persona games start out with some kind of craziness happening in the beginning. In fact, a lot of RPGs, especially JRPGs, the intro is always like some calamity or something really bad happening. And to be honest, that typically works for someone like me. I play a lot of RPGs, JRPGs, single player games, so dramatic intros with a lot to lose, a lot at stake, really helps to anchor me within the world of the story, which adds to my immersion while playing the game. The universe feels more tangible when crazy shit starts happening. So the king gets assassinated. Long story short, at the king's funeral, odd magical sensations start to happen. The palace, the royal palace, proceeds to levitate above the denizens of the city. And underneath the palace is the face of the king himself. And this is why you should play games late and avoid all trailers. If you know you're gonna love a game, just buy it and play it. I had no idea this craziness was gonna happen because the game came out a year and 7 months ago. The king's face is on the bottom of the palace. Reminds me of a lot of Majora's Mask. Those from the old school, you know you thought about that the first time you saw the big ass face in the sky. So here's the weird part. One of the king's eye socket is actually a morphable stone. And this morphable stone takes on the appearance of the leading candidates in the runner-up to become king. The king puts a magical eyeball on each and every citizen's forehead for a fair and free, I want to say election. It's not really an election, it's a competition for who will become king. And in a clever way, I think it's a clever way. I know some people are going to say, they just shoehorn the Persona stuff in there. But you have to increase your virtues. And the only way you can increase your virtues is to actually have bonds with certain people in the storyline. Not necessarily just party members, but everyone and anyone could form a bond with the main character. Now, speaking of the main character, the traveling boy, I actually named him Travel Boy. Travel Boy is an elder. An elder is a tribe, which is essentially like a race in this world. This world has a lot of racism, very prominent, a lot of bigotry in this world. And I feel like it's a really good illustration of the current world that we actually live in. But I know a lot of people, they like to say, oh, it's just a video game, don't take it so seriously. But you can learn a lot if you pay attention to what the video game is trying to tell you. So anyway, in this world, you are an elder boy. This traveling boy, AKA Travel Boy, is striving to become king. And it's weird because, to be completely honest, he doesn't strike me as a king. He just strikes me as a guy just trying to find his way. So in a weird way, he's actually the avatar of the player, because the player has to decide which bonds the player wants to foster and which bonds they want to ignore. Me, I'm trying to do everything. I'm trying to be well-traveled and actually get as many bonds as I can. So from the 35 hours I've played so far, this game is very beautiful. And so far, my favorite thing has to be the UI system in this game. And it was a similar thing in Persona 5. The UI far exceeds anything else in the game in terms of visuals, at least in my opinion. It is done so well that I'm having a very hard time discerning which UI design I like better, Persona 5 or Metaphor. They come really close. Now, thematically, the games are very different, but the foundation of the Persona game is still here. Increasing bonds to strengthen your archetypes, which are pretty much like Persona in Metaphor, but not really. They're kind of more like classes, which I can actually appreciate, because Persona and Persona games are more like Pokemon, kind of, in a weird way, where there are a bunch of them, you can evolve some of them, you can merge or fuse. In Persona's fuse, it's not breeding because they're not like animals, I guess, but it's essentially the same gotta catch 'em all type thing in Persona. So it's kind of nice not having to deal with that in Metaphor. Now you have to deal with classes, like you have the warrior class, a mage class, you got the knight, who is like a tank. And I do like the fact that the tank, healer, DPS is actually in the game. I think that's a nice, refreshing touch. I also like the fact that when you become overpowered in the area, you can just do away with them very quickly and just move on. I really like that. And if you're wise, the mage archetype actually replenishes a little bit of MP. Yeah, this Atlus RPG is definitely MP stingy. They do not give you ways to fill up your MP. So I like the fact that things are a little bit more action oriented, especially when you're just dealing with mobs out in the open. That being said, I really love the combat system. I love the way you can stun enemies and then a beautiful animation of the character comes up and then it goes right into the battle. The flow is just like immaculate. I love how fresh combat can feel, especially when done correctly. So if you can't already tell, I'm having a blast with Metaphor ReFantazio. I love how much reading there is in the game. I've been embracing a lot more reading in my life. There's a time when I really struggled to sit there and read blocks of text in a video game, especially a video game. But recently, I actually have become kind of addicted to reading every little thing in games. And I think it's worth the extra time because you get so much more context when you actually go through and read the backstory and the lore in a lot of these games. I think it makes the world richer, and I really like that. In fact, that's one of my favorite things to do in Metaphor is actually go through the memorandum. I think it's called a memorandum, or what is it? Memorandum. Yeah, memorandum. So yeah, I really like going through the memorandum and reading things. Like I actually get excited when I see the little notification pop up that they're adding something new to the memorandum. And I think this is becoming my strange new addiction in these games, is reading every little thing. And the reading in this is actually really good. And like I think it's really nice. I love the dialogue. I love where the story is going. It is kind of zany, and in certain ways, but I really appreciate it. It feels really refreshing for me. I notice a lot of guys nowadays, they're saying how bored they are with games, and I'm noticing that a lot of them keep playing the same games over and over and over again. So if you're not really into JRPGs, consider giving this one a try, especially because I picked up this game late for around $20. I believe it's on PlayStation Premium as well. Yeah, this game is fire. I'm gonna come back later on, maybe around the 50 hour or so mark, 50, 60 hour, give another video. I'll probably have like maybe 3 or 4 videos on Metaphor ReFantazio. So we're gonna be on this for a while. This will be kind of like a log, if you will. So for those of you who have no idea who I am, my name is Jahbu Ori, aka Jahbu, and a lifelong artist, lifelong gamer that loves to talk about the visuals in games and gaming in general. If you would like to see my artwork, you can simply head over to my website, jahbu.com. I am currently in the final stages of finishing up a piece inspired by Tears of the Kingdom. I am working very hard on that and everything else in my life. So if you would like to know when that's going to drop, you can simply sign up for my newsletter on my website. Don't worry, I will not spam your email. I will only send you relevant information when it pertains to my art. If you're on Instagram, you can simply follow me at JAHBU_ART. So until next time, my wonderful, beautiful people, let me know what you're playing in the comment section below. There are a lot of games out there. And if you've ever experienced playing a game late and being blown away by it because you played it late and you avoided all trailers, put it in the comment section below. I'm just curious. Until next time, my wonderful people, one love, peace.